Jonathan, thank you for being here, sir.
Good to be with you, my friend.
So I want to start by saying I respect the Attorney General and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. I just want to know if we're getting the whole story here, and I want to know your thoughts about this memo. So what are your initial reactions to it?
Well, let me first, and I'm saying this for a reason. Your first comments there, that you wanted to say that you respect Pam Bondi, Bongino, and Kash Patel.
Yes.
With all due respect, you don't know them.
Okay.
And if you don't know people, then you shouldn't put your respect and you shouldn't put them up on a pedestal. Okay. Because what happens is that they then play the political game in Washington, D.C. Now, I'm not saying they're bad, okay, which is another thing. I don't put bad behavior on somebody. I look at the facts. But that's the first thing I would tell people to guard against. I'm a huge Trump supporter, but I'm not a fan of some of these appointees that he's made. But I let them do their thing, and I see where they fail and where they succeed. Okay. His economic team succeeds incredibly, but that's because they go in very easy steps that they never get ahead of themselves. I'll say that. These individuals, Pam Bondi, Bongino, and Kash Patel, get ahead of themselves every step of the way when it comes to this process right here. We don't see them, we see no signs of them going after the left to take down the leftist ideology that permeates and has ruined the judicial system, the FBI, and all these other agencies. We see no sign of that. Then we have this whole fiasco with Pam Bondi coming out and telling us she has this evidence, giving social media influencers binders to go out and wave in the air. It's been absolutely a circus from day one when it comes to this. Big promises, nothing delivered, which is opposite of the way that President Trump does stuff. So what I see, the thing that bothers me the most is, if you're familiar with the Idaho killings where the 4 college students, yes, were murdered, right?
Yes.
So we just had Brian Kohlberger, he admitted that he's guilty. Now we can say he killed them. Well, one of the biggest pieces of evidence for probably why he confessed to that is that he had been by there. They knew this, they had cell phone service. He'd been by there multiple times, and they looked at his cell phone service, and it showed that his phone had been going to that location. But on the night of the murders, before the murder, his car started moving towards that direction. It turned off, and then it turned back on after the murders with his car heading back towards his home. So that void of information is actually evidence because it shows intent, not intent to murder, but intent to hide where he was at. And so when I see things like missing information, missing timestamps in that video footage, when I have the government coming out and telling me that there's nothing here for you to see, move on, I look at that the same way I look at that missing cell phone in the Brian Kohlberger case. It's telling me that there's more there potentially, and there's maybe motive and intent for them not telling us. And that is what bothers me the most.
Okay, so then following up on that, what do you make of the memo and its contents? I have lots of thoughts, but I really want to hear your analysis on that.
I look at that as a page and a half of an excuse that's telling people there's nothing here, move on. I look at that as the same way that I looked at Dan Bongino and Kash Patel when they sat in front of Fox News, I believe it was, and said there's nothing there. So they're not good at what the last administration could lie with no problem whatsoever. This group of people, though, they are not expert liars. I'm not saying that they wake up every day to do something nefarious to the nation. That's the last administration.
Yes.
But they're not even good at enhancing a story if they have a reason to do it. I think what we saw there yesterday with the press secretary was a horrible series of excuses and answers. Terrible. It made the problem even worse. And when you look at Pam Bondi, when you look at Kash, and you look at Bongino, every time they get up to talk about this issue, it is just not good. They are not good at lying or telling people, giving people an excuse or telling them to move on. They may have reasons why they're not doing this.
Yes.
It may be so explosive that they've deemed it national security threat or what have you if it was an intel operation. Not by us, could have been by somebody else. And it could be compromising other world leaders that if we revealed it, it could cause massive problems. But we're having to go.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.